Good evening. I guess I spend way too much time. That's why I like using this. I get to vent also. It's like visiting somebody, but not. I don't. I don't do company well. Anyway, I was gonna finish telling part of the story that about what I was saying about the the first time that they found fire. Like two couples. And those two couples is supposed to have offspring, like 13 um, tribes that came from those two. And it's not like there was no other people, but they actually had their brain changed because when the lightning hit their tree, caused it to cook the meat that they had just killed, and they ate it afterwards, and they thought it was good. And then they went through um, clever different ways, and you know was able to hold that fire, keep that fire going, and learn how to make fire. And so that's supposedly the story I heard. That's why we are different than the other mammals, because we cook our meat, and we had to be clever enough to figure out how to get it. Anyway, also, from those 13 families, um, that is supposed to be people like not really the chosen people, but to keep the keeping of the earth, and the history, and you know that like God for forget you know if you forgot how to do fire, it was very important. But where you come to reusable energy, like nowadays, that's how I know that there's going to be an earthquake. Really just prediction, because of I sit around and sometimes I like to play with numbers. Um, and there's certain givens, and there's certain things they were doing here, like fratting, that caused rumblings, and other certain stuff like extracting oil and gas and other minerals, because in the center of the earth is molten. It's like, well, it's heat. It's heat, and let's just say that oil and gas that we extract and we use as fuel is also fuel, say, for the earth, and that this oil might keep the plates like lubricated, like your brake pads, so to speak. Um, and like when it's not like you get the squeaking and the rubbing, like let's say that this more keeps. Well, anyway, it's not a good thing to continue taking oil out, crude oil out, because once it's gone, it's gone. And another thing about when they go like out to space, you always hear about the hole in the atmosphere. Does anybody ever like I always think the only reason why is because the rocket ship. You know what I'm saying? Because of this society, we're always jeopardizing the victim. But anyway, getting back to that story with the 13 families, supposedly what happened is this other massive group, uh, came in there and just totally demolished everything. Um, Now, like you ever hear like the story they always talked about like when Moses left, and he had that they had made this um a box out of gold. Well, it's supposedly inside of this box, right, is two magnets that are, opposing magnets, and they're wrapped in copper. You have the copper and you have the gold, and on top, you have a pole of gold, and I guess they supposed to have a diamond. So supposedly they did have what you might call today wireless communication, and maybe like ticker tapes and steam engine and you know, as they progress by being clever enough, you know, the original 13,000, by being clever enough, um, it brought on all these, you know, with the village of heat, boiling water, seeing that the gases, you could see water vapor, you could see it, smoke and stuff. So, I guess they didn't have TV and other distractions, so um, this was like a gift, not magic or superstitious, but a gift, you know, to help, bring forth life. It's sprung from life to them. It was not and knowledge was something that was very important for their survival in the form of, now they were sheltering, clothing, and feeding themselves. This is, so they needed this stuff. And the mother was very instrumental in passing on, uh, um, you know, the learning. If she was information, she was the food. She, and all this, and back then men were what you call, they made it with only one, so like one, like one woman. They didn't make with another woman, and it was also for survival, and um, so so things have changed. That's basically the story. Um, I guess one of the families, when the Europeans were going on their Great Crusades, um, supposedly end up in South America. You have pyramids in Mexico and other places, supposedly. But anyway, so um, and it's not like from the Bible story. This is the stories of just of the like the people, they I guess you would say they worship uh the elements, like the sun, and not really worship it, but in a sense, recognize that they could utilize um, elements, the heat, and the energy, from this stuff, uh, from, they could utilize this as a means to for the better themselves. Whereas they were saying, like when you look at the pyramids and you look at the drawings on the wall, you don't see any of the like black marks from smoke or anything, or as you would notice, like in more of the European, like places that are dated, from the, using fire. So so the thing is that, I don't know what they call that, um, but it was actually like, sort of like, say, a means of regenerating energy, um, and and not everybody, but that is one of the things that I notice here with the children. They don't get any information with the schools today, and probably the main reason is because during the Great Crusades, it was about, dividing. Like our family structure in the United States is just, it's like shattered. It's so divided. It's just fractured. Um, uh, um, and so it was divide, rob, pillage, rape. But anyway, all of this, and they would, like, take this back to, like, the kings and queens that they're supposed to be working for, you know. And like if you look at Indiana Jones, for instance, he goes in Egypt and he's actually taking articles out of the pyramid and bringing them to museums is like, if I would do that, basically they're stealing. That's basically you say anthropologists that work for the, and the government's the one that hires scientists. So in a sense, because we jeopardize women, and because like if you look back, I think it's well documented. The was it using prostitution in the Roman days, in the Greek days as a way to pay their soldiers that were women. And now you can imagine, like in the United States, like such the double binding and hypocrite, like the 180 that we have done, which really what we've done to women is, is criminal, because not breastfeeding, not giving, like I hear women like now saying, oh well, if my kid would do better if they had a father. Well, it needs a mother first, and not a mother that's worrying about what where this grown person is, because that shouldn't be a child's worry. you know like if he's in jail, he's at work or whatever, the child doesn't have any powers, doesn't have any rights. But anyway, so by not, and then of course the women, like they, back in the day, you spent a lot of time if you're gathering wood, if you're starting a fire, if you're cooking, the kid's there, he's observing, and stuff like that. So he's getting information. Children, it's like getting like a new computer, and you're not putting in any input. You're not putting in your name or anything in there. You know, and you're not plugged up to the internet, So you might say we did a 180. Okay, like let me do a simple like this, a show everybody used to watch, and I only watched it like 2 or 3 times. I didn't watch TV as a child, but when I did, anyway, Gunsmoke. If you see Gunsmoke, the Europeans, they had just cleared the West, and they had their mad rush to, so like imagine just a herd of crazy white, because that is the difference between the original 13 that started using fire tribes and the rest of everybody else. There's a certain gene that is it's only in them. So but anyway, so and then they had the woman, the cat, what her Kitty, yeah, she was in a saloon with the other women. Basically, they were prostitutes. The sheriff, and his little sidekick Festus, they would go into the saloon, and I always saw, the sheriff and Festus as, should have been lovers, and just like with Albert and Costello. So in a way, we're programmed to become like, to become not understanding, a double binding. The television, like, was giving me like, like they were like, oh, that's his girlfriend. I'm like, bullshit. He's the pimp. You know what I'm saying? He just shows up. Yeah, he running shit up in the. But anyway, but as the story goes, you had 13 families, tribes, um, and they were supposed to be oh, I know what it was. The reason why, like, there's a point of no return is because and the reason why women kept a lot of information, was good with information, is because we follow. There's 2 calendars. One calendar where you have 13 months, and every day is 28 days, and it goes with the woman's cycle. And then you have the other one, and the men and women both went together, to hunt and to do things, because in a group, in a unit, it made things easier. Um, so like when you hear the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Back those days, the village was a family unit. It was uncles, aunts, grandma, great grandma. So that's why like a lot of festivals and other things got started. So you could make arrangements, interaction, and but mostly, that's meet and greet, go other places, barter, trade, whatever. but also was a way to meet a mate. And they would have, and that's how you have, anyway, it happens. But, you know, continuous growth, right? Um, I think I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm still working. I'm still working on the house because I'm gonna move my bedroom eventually when I get it done in there. I got a lot of rooms started, but but nowadays in the United States, it's it's like a nightmare. I mean, Memphis is like just, they make you feel so uncomfortable. Um, everybody wants to judge you. These Christians, they judge you, and then like, and they're such what are you projecting? So usually, whatever like they're like thinking like you do, I don't know. They make everything sound nasty. You know what I'm saying? Um, I guess, I don't know. That's what happens when you whoop kids. They become mean, nasty, double binding, um, perverts, really. But, I mean, the way they make the little girls feel, I mean, it's sad. As soon as they get little breasts, these men want to start groping on them. And the mom, her thing is, like, if you get pregnant, I'm going to kick you out. I'm going to do this, So it's not like, poor baby, what happened, tell me. It's like, you better not embarrass me. You bet, you know what I'm saying? So these women are just selfish, you know, and they're not being mothers, you know what I'm saying? Because they are programmed and conditioned to think that, well, for one thing, we have single parents, they have to go to work, but there's other solutions. There's a lot of other solutions, you know. Anyway. It's sad. I mean, I just feel sorry for the kids because they're suffering. They don't have any rights. Like that football player. What's his name? Rice. Well, no, he beat his wife. They're acting like, oh well, But see, at least she could call the cops, right? Like with the child that got beat. He up there like 2 or 3 days. They waiting for his bruises to heal before they do anything. Why do anything then? You know what I'm saying? The child, they don't, so basically children don't have any rights. So, you know, and parents are not, and since, like, are not really in there, like, cause like kids really do need to be nurtured. They not, not chastised or bullied or hit or whooped. Are deprived of human basic needs like food, shelter, water, uh, and the ability to gather knowledge and information. It's so important for them to gather knowledge and information, and to have for a parent to empathize and be able to be very um, uh, um, not what they're getting because it's sad here, and it's really sad for the girls. I mean, so basically, around here, their first exposure to sex is basically rape, and like what like we used to call like like when after like when they call acting out, like you used to be able to tell when a girl was physically or sexually abused because they would do acting out, they become more sexual and do like that. Now here they act like it's the girl's fault, oh, she's just a whore. No, that, you know what I'm saying? We are still mammals. You know what I'm saying? And if that's all that girl sees around men, and that's what they end up doing. And her father got, a woman here and a girlfriend there, and he's bragging, he hanging out with a bunch of boys, which hanging out with a bunch of boys going to looking at women at a strip joint, and especially if they're doing coke, I can see a lot of them. Well, actually, Arson, was it Arson? A famous he did Animal Farm, but anyway, he wrote that. I can't what's the name? Well, anyway, he said that that doing coke And also Freud did a study also on doing coke and everything. See, there's two things. When you're doing coke, like you'll have sex even with your mom. So there's like some mispro when boys are actually in more ways need more nurturing from their mom, not in a sexual or a whooping way, but in a more of a information way. And in information is also like like it helps them be easier, have an easier life, more fulfilling life, and then and with a more caring and understanding and empathizing parent that is there to give this child knowledge to help them, be able to, like in our society, I don't know, be a millionaire without being a slave. Because basically in sports you just bought, I mean, high dollar, but you know what I'm saying? Like, even if you think back in slavery times, you hear about they bought their way out of slavery. Well, you can't buy your way out of slavery today. Anyway, I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm going to brush these teeth. Oh, no smell of it. Never mind. Night night.